Welcome to Fun with Monu-Cad. Today we're going to be importing a TrueType font and then filling some of the letters. You can see how that's done. The first thing we're going to do is hit TT to open up the TrueType font conversion. Scroll down to any letter that we like. In this case, I'm going to use Kristen. I'm going to make it bold, and I'm going to change the size base to 66. We're going to use a prefix of ABC. Normally I would use Kristen or KRI, some form of the actual letter, but I'm going to delete this file later, so I'm just going to use ABC to make it easy. And we're going to add this to our fonts list. And again, this font name, I would normally put Kristen here because that's what's going to show up when we go to right click our letters. That's the name that we want to see displayed, and I would use the same file name. In this case, we're just going to use ABCs. That's going to pull up our TrueType font. You can see there's some characters here that are not needed. There's all kinds of letters that we don't use in monuments, but we have all of our punctuation, all our letters, numbers, etc. So the first thing I'm going to do is save this. I like to make a drawing of this file. That way, if I need to pull it up later, I can. So I'm just going to do a quick drawing save and save that. Next thing I'm going to do is erase this, pack our data, PD for pack data, and we're going to load font again. Open our font here, ABC. Now we can do a component list, and it shows all of our components here. These are, because it's a TrueType font, these are numbered or named a little bit differently than our Monu-Cad letters. Important thing to know is what these names are. An A is ABC 65. B is ABC 66 because it's a 65th character or 67th, whatever character in this list. And I've made a spreadsheet so I can keep up with that. A capital A is 65, a capital B is 66. Our lowercase letters, you see an R is 114, and these are our numbers and our periods, commas, semicolons. So I use this as a reference because typically I'll explode full lines of components, fill them, sort them, and everything at once. If you're doing one at a time, you may not need to keep a list like that. The first thing we're going to do is turn that off. Let's drag a line from the insertion point for each of these. I don't want to run across my letter if I can help it because I'm going to fill it. So I'm going to make my C out to that direction. Next thing we're going to do is explode these. Explode all three of these. And we can sort them. ST, choose the letter, and we want to sort it so it goes all around in the same direction. So I'm going to choose this point here and go up. I'm going to sort our B from up here and go around, and our C, I'm going to start right up here and go this direction. Now we can fill our letters. We can use a seed fill, and I always choose sunk letters typeface. On this one, I'm going to do an F2. That's my preferred method for filling. The letter F, the number 2, and I can draw a box, and it creates essentially a window fill that allows us to choose our group. Your groups may not look like this. I've moved some of my groups into different areas, and I've deleted ones that I don't need and don't want. But Monu-Cad always uses V-sunk letters typeface for a letter like this, unless it's an outline or something different. We use V-sunk letters typeface. Apply that. And same thing with the letter C. You don't need to select this every time. It should default automatically to the last fill that you used, but I want to make sure that we know what we're doing here, so we're going to choose it each time. Next, I'm going to turn our fills off. And we've sorted this letter, we've filled this letter. We can do a drawing clean just to make sure there's no duplicates, which there shouldn't be. All right, now we're ready to component create. Before we do that, we want to make sure we pack our data. We want to get rid of the previous component for these three letters because they reside in memory. So we're going to do a pack data to remove them. That way they will not show up in our component list. 65, 66, and 67 are not there. And that's important. So we're going to component create ABC 65, and we're going to choose our insertion point. We're going to save that. We're going to do the same thing with our B, component create ABC 66. And we want to make sure we get right in there on that point. And we're going to use nearest point, save, and make sure we're on the right track. Our C is number 67. So component create ABC 67. And make sure we get that nearest point, save. Now we need to place these three letters back into this font. So we're going to do a component place, ABC, A, B, C. We'll turn our fills on, make sure that they're filled. Now we're going to save our font. We know we've got all the letters in there. SF, save font. And I would choose that font, make sure you click it, make sure it's the right one. Save, overwrite it. Now we should be able to pack our data, close Monu-Cad, get rid of everything, and we should be able to add lettering, put A, B, C, D, E, F, G in our new font, which was renamed ABC. Oh, forgot, these are capital letters, so we need to make sure that we use capital ABC. Otherwise, we'll get the wrong letters. And you can see we filled A, B, C. The rest of these are not filled. So to fill the rest, we erase that, we load font, pull our font back up, and we can begin with the rest of the letters, numbers, punctuation, whatever it is that you want to fill. Those are the steps. I hope that makes sense. It's a lot to do, and it's very important the order that you do it. Make sure that you pack data after you've exploded these letters and before you create your new ones. Otherwise, Monu-Cad will try to override it, and because it's in memory, it won't do so. So make sure you sort your letter, fill your letter, pack your data, and then recreate your new components, and then place them back in the drawing using component place. One last thing to remember when you're filling a font, you do not want to fill the inside of your A. The B on this one won't matter because you've got a gap here, so the inside of this won't actually fill. But the inside of your A, the inside of your D, your 0, your O, your lowercase e's, etc., you do not want to fill those. We want those left open because when you use these letters, let's just take the capital A, for example, in our new alphabet. We want to place that on the monument, and we want to be able to fill this with a monument color. And our letter to show up. We don't want it to be pre-frosted or not. Whether this is inside of a panel or inside of a steeled area, we want to be able to put this letter anywhere we want. And if we pre-fill the inside of that, we'd have to go in and adjust our group, adjust our color group, every time we move it inside or outside of a panel. In fact, if we wanted to, we could put it right between, and that way you can see that you're seeing through that letter to whatever's behind it, whether it's frosted, whether it's steeled, whether it's polished, doesn't matter. Same thing with components. Areas that you want to see through, don't fill.